Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. You know how we're always talking about making the most of your education and how that all connects to, well, earning potential?
Right, right. It's a topic that's always on people's minds.
It sure is, and we've been digging into some recent research on high-income skills. I'm excited to break it all down with you today.
Definitely. I think this is going to be really valuable for our listeners. Understanding the landscape of in-demand skills is so crucial, especially in today's job market.
Absolutely. And this research uses this really interesting analogy of a personal stock price to talk about how much someone's skills are worth. Like, imagine a doctor fresh out of med school. They have value, for sure.
Right.
But then they go on to specialize, maybe become a neurosurgeon, and boom, suddenly their earning potential just skyrockets. Their stock has gone way up.
Exactly. It's like comparing, as you said, a general practitioner to a highly specialized surgeon who everyone's trying to get an appointment with. The demand is just that much higher. But what's really important to remember, and this is where it gets interesting for everyone, is that this concept applies to everyone, not just doctors.
That's such a good point.
You know, whether you're a designer, a writer, an entrepreneur,
The dog walker.
a dog walker, exactly. We're all essentially entrepreneurs in a way, right? We're all kind of selling our skills in the marketplace.
We are. Even if you're not running your own business in the traditional sense, you're still bringing value to the table at your job, and you're getting paid for that value.
Precisely. And it's up to us to constantly be evaluating and improving that value.
And speaking of value, the research makes a clear distinction between, and this is interesting, low-income skills and high-income skills.
And this is where it gets really down to brass tacks.
Yeah, like playing guitar. Awesome. I love it.
I mean, it's so fun, but coding websites for businesses, that's where the money is. Or, writing academically is one thing, but persuasive copywriting, the kind that converts readers into customers. Businesses pay top dollar for that.
Oh, yeah, big time. And you know what's interesting about this whole thing? The value of a skill can also change depending on who your customer is.
That's about supply and demand, right?
Exactly. A guitar teacher working with local kids is in a totally different market from, let's say, a musician who gets signed by a major record label.
It's like comparing someone selling handmade crafts on Etsy to a designer whose line gets picked up by a major retailer. The target audience and their budget change the whole game.
100%.
So I'm sure our listeners are thinking, okay, this is interesting, but give me the goods. What are these high-income skills?
All right. Tell us what to learn. Exactly. And don't worry, we're getting there.
Yeah.
The research dives into 5 specific skills that are not only in super high demand right now, but are also attainable, even if you're not, some Mozart of coding. And they share some really inspiring examples of real people who are killing it.
And I think that's what makes this so powerful. It's not just theoretical. It's about real people achieving real success using these skills.
100%. So are you ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Let's start with software consulting, which, before anyone tunes out thinking they need to be a tech whiz, let me tell you.
There's more to it than that.
Way more to it. You don't have to be a coding genius to do really well in this field.
You don't. And the research gives a great example. A young woman named Melina, she's in her early 20s, and she's making bank by creating these really cool solutions for businesses using a tool called Notion, which a lot of people are familiar with.
Right, and what's remarkable about her story is it's not just about her technical skills, though she clearly has those. She also has incredible business sense. She understands her value and charges accordingly $300 for 90 minutes of her expertise. And she positions it as done for you, which is super appealing to busy entrepreneurs.
And that's smart because so many people are overwhelmed and just want someone to take care of things for them.
Exactly.
And it's not like she's just out there randomly offering her services. She's got a whole pricing plan figured out, different tiers, even a discount if you book multiple sessions with her.
She's thought of everything. And I love how this highlights that consulting isn't just about the technical stuff. It's about client communication, about pricing your services effectively, about managing projects and meeting deadlines. These are valuable skills for any field.
It's like getting a business degree just by doing the work.
Exactly.
Okay, ready for another high-income skill? Let's talk copywriting. And no, I don't mean just being good at grammar, though that helps.
That's much more than that.
So much more.
It's about persuasion.
Yes, persuasive writing. Specifically in a business context. So think website copy that converts visitors into buyers, email campaigns that get people to open and click, social media posts that grab attention and drive action.
It's the art of using words to achieve specific business goals.
And the research makes this really interesting point. Even a tiny increase in conversion rates can mean massive profit jumps for businesses. They gave an example of a course, I think it was, that was already making $1 million a year.
Wow.
Just by optimizing the sales page copy, they could potentially double, triple, even quadruple their earnings.
The power of words.
I know. And speaking of, the research recommends a book called Copywriting Secrets. Have you heard of that one?
I have. Jim Edwards, it's a classic.
It is. For anyone who really wants to dive deep into the nuts and bolts of persuasive writing, that's the one.
Absolutely. And, if you're more of a visual learner, there's a copywriter named Cardinal Mason, and he has a fantastic YouTube channel. Tons of practical tips, breakdowns of what makes copy work. It's great.
I have to check it out.
It's really good stuff.
Okay, from words that sell, let's shift gears to visuals that captivate. Our next high-income skill is design. And I don't just mean being able to whip up a fancy logo.
Right. Design is everywhere these days.
It really is.
And good design. I mean, businesses need it for everything.
Websites, apps, social media, you name it. And let me tell you, the demand for skilled designers, through the roof.
It's incredible.
The research even mentioned this one business owner who was offering, get this, a $400,000 salary, trying to find a talented designer.
Wow.
Couldn't find anyone. Shows you just how valuable these skills are.
No kidding. That's amazing.
And you know what? This really resonates with me because back when I was in med school, I actually did some freelance design work on the side.
Oh, really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, for med tech companies. And I was by no means a pro, but I enjoyed it. And I realized that my background in medicine actually gave me an edge because I understood the target audience. I knew what would resonate with them.
That's so smart. Finding your niche, that unique angle you bring to the table.
Exactly. And if anyone out there is thinking about design, the research mentions a really inspiring designer named Abby Connick.
I love her work.
Oh, she's great. Completely self-taught, now runs her own successful design business. And she shares a ton of great tips and tutorials on her YouTube channel. Proof you don't need a fancy art degree to make it in the design world.
Love that. Such a great example of what's possible.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for another skill? This one's huge right now, web development.
Yes. Everyone needs a website these days.
And when we say web development, we're not just talking about, throwing together a basic website. This is about creating engaging, user-friendly, visually appealing online experiences.
Exactly. Think about it. Every business, from your local coffee shop to like a Fortune 500 company, they need a website. It's their online storefront, it's their portfolio, their main communication hub with the world.
It really is. And the research tells this fascinating story about a guy named, I think it was Henry, who basically saw this huge need for quality web development, taught himself the ropes, and now he charges, get this, thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for building websites.
Wow, good for him.
I know, right?
That's amazing.
And what I find really smart about his approach is he's kind of niched down, right?
Yeah.
He specializes in a platform called Webflow. Have you heard of it?
I have, yeah. It's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, it's a little more complex than those like drag and drop website builders out there, but it allows for so much more customization and flexibility.
Yeah.
So he's positioned himself as like the go-to Webflow expert.
Oh, that's smart.
And he can charge a premium for that.
Exactly.
And get this, he recently charged $15,000 for building a website for a book launch.
Wow.
Yeah, $15,000.
It just shows you specialization. If you can become an expert in something that's in demand.
That's where it's at. It's like that difference between a general contractor and, say, a master craftsman who builds custom furniture. They both build things, but that craftsman's specialized skill set, they command a premium price.
For sure.
So, for anyone listening who's intrigued by web development, wants to explore further, the research mentioned Webflow. Obviously, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great place to start.
And another one called Framer. And both of those platforms actually have great online resources and tutorials to kind of get your feet wet.
That's awesome.
And you know what? This actually ties in nicely with our previous sponsor, Hostinger.
Oh, right.
Because they offer those really affordable web hosting solutions, right?
Oh.
So if you're thinking about getting into web development, building websites, they can be a great partner for you, getting your projects online.
For sure. It's always good to have a reliable hosting provider when you're building websites.
Definitely. Okay, ready to move on to our final high-income skill.
Let's do it. Hit me.
All right. This one, I feel like, gets met with a mix of fascination and fear. Because when people hear this word, they're like, ooh, scary, but also, ooh, intriguing.
Intriguing and intimidating all at the same time. I totally get it.
Exactly. And that word is coding.
Yeah.
Code,
It's like this mysterious world to a lot of people.
it is. And I get it. It can seem super intimidating, right? Especially if you have this picture in your mind of like some tech genius hunched over a keyboard, in a dark room, like hacking into the mainframe.
Right, right. Surrounded by empty energy drink cans.
Exactly. But the reality is coding is actually becoming more and more accessible every day.
It really is. There's so many resources available now.
So many. And the rewards, let me tell you, can be life-changing.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking like starting salaries in the six figures at some of these top tech companies
Yeah.
for skilled coders.
Yeah. And it's not just about the jobs either, right? It's
Right.
about the ability to create something from nothing.
Exactly. You have an idea for an app, a website, a piece of software, you can build it.
Exactly. It's empowering.
So empowering. And the research shares this really inspiring story about a coder. I think his name was Sahel. He basically taught himself how to code and ended up building this incredible AI tool for video editors.
No way. That's amazing.
I know. And guess what? That tool is now bringing in a cool $35,000 per month.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's incredible.
I know.
That's the beauty of coding, right? You're not just building a career, you're building assets, products, potentially businesses that can generate income, for years to come.
It's amazing. And for anyone listening who's feeling that little spark of inspiration, maybe wants to dip their toes into the world of coding, the research highly recommends a website called Indie Hackers.
I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah. It's a great resource. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, it's full of stories of like everyday people who've taken their coding skills and turned them into successful businesses. Proof that you don't need a fancy degree or, millions of dollars in funding to make it happen.
Absolutely. It's really democratizing, this whole world of technology and entrepreneurship.
It really is. And it's exciting to see, But I think it's important to acknowledge knowing about these skills is great, but it's not enough, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Knowledge without action, my friend,
Right.
is like a car without an engine. It looks nice, but it's not going to get you anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
You've got to put in the work.
You got to put in the work. So how do our listeners move from being, passive absorbers of information to active participants in this exciting world of high-income skills?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's something that I think about a lot. It's one thing to listen to a podcast, read a book, watch a YouTube video.
Right.
But it's another thing entirely to take that information and actually do something with it.
To apply it.
To apply it, exactly.
So what would you say? What's that first step?
Well, I always encourage people to start with what excites them. What really sparked your curiosity, what resonated with you on a deeper level. Because, learning should be enjoyable.
It should be.
It shouldn't feel like a chore. So once you identify that skill or that area that you're really drawn to, then it's about taking one small but concrete step towards exploring it further.
I love that.
It doesn't have to be anything drastic. It could be as simple as, signing up for a free online course.
Right.
Reading a book on the topic.
Reaching out to someone who's already doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
Just to pick their brain.
Exactly. Because every journey, as they say, begins with a single step.
It really does. But I think, for a lot of people, there's that fear of failure that can really hold them back from even taking that first step.
Oh, I hear you. Fear is a powerful thing.
It is. So how do we move past that fear?
Well, I think it's important to remember that failure is not the opposite of success. It's actually a stepping stone on the path to success.
Oh, we love that.
Every successful person, every single one of them has faced setbacks, has made mistakes, has, quote unquote, failed at some point along the way.
Right. That's part of the journey.
It's part of the journey. And it's about reframing our perspective on failure, seeing it not as this end-all, be-all, but as valuable feedback.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Like, okay, that didn't work out the way I planned. What can I learn from that experience?
Exactly.
How can I adjust my approach and try again?
So good. And you know what else can be really helpful?
What's that?
I think having that support system.
Oh, 100%.
Because you don't have to go through this alone.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Surround yourself with friends, family, mentors, maybe even an online community of people who are on a similar journey.
Accountability buddies.
Yes, accountability buddies. People who can offer encouragement, guidance, give you a little nudge when you need it.
Because we all need that, right?
All do.
We all need someone in our corner cheering us on.
It's like having your own personal cheering squad, to help you become the best, most skilled, most highly paid version of yourself.
I love it.
Right.
Your own personal hike team.
Yes, your hype team. I love that. All right, so as we're kind of wrapping up our deep dive here into this world of high-income skills, and we've covered a lot of ground today,
We really have.
what's that key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
The job market is always going to be changing. There's always going to be something new to learn, a new skill to acquire.
Always evolving.
Always evolving, exactly. But what remains constant, what will always be valuable, is this commitment to continuous learning.
So good.
Never stop exploring, never stop growing, and never, ever underestimate the power of acquiring new skills to unlock your full potential.
I love that. Never underestimate your potential,
Never.
because we all have so much potential within us. It's just about tapping into it.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so to recap for our listeners, we've explored 5 high-income skills today: software consulting, copywriting, design, web development, and coding. What really resonated with you?
Yeah, what sparked your interest?
What got you fired up? What's one tiny action step that you can take today to turn that spark of interest into a flame of action?
Love that. One small step.
One small step.
It all starts somewhere.
It does. It really does. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
See you then.
It's like, that old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
So true.
So don't let that fear of, oh, I should have started sooner, or whatever it is, hold you back from taking that first step.
Absolutely. It's never too late to invest in yourself.
Never. Okay, so to wrap things up, bring it back to you, our listeners. We explored 5 high-income skills: software consulting, copywriting, design, web development, and coding. Which one really resonated? What sparked your interest? And maybe even more importantly, what's one tiny little action step you can take today to, turn that spark of interest into a flame of action?
Yes. Love that. What's one small step you can take today? Write it down.
Write it down.
Hold yourself accountable.
Yes. Share it with us on social media. Tag us in your posts. Let's keep this conversation going,
Let's do it.
because we love hearing from you.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.